Do these spicy mainstream beverages actually bring the heat, or is it all just overly sweet, not so hot air? Let's find out. So today, in the interest of limb management, we're doing something a little less involved and looking at the new spicy refresher drinks from Starbucks. So there are 3 flavors available. We'll give them a taste, see if they have any sort of discernible heat, and if they're worth drinking, and maybe some thoughts on ways to improve or make your own version of these that's going to be maybe more to your life. Now, the premise of these seems pretty solid. Sweet, refreshing, spicy beverage, something to the tune of a virgin spicy margarita in terms of the components that are in there. Do they actually execute it that well? We'll see. I suspect it's going to be far, far too sweet. So we'll talk about some different ways to combat that. But overall, the sweet components will generally help balance out any sort of overt pungency from the chili peppers, as well as any bitterness. And then by the same token, that bitterness will also, in theory, cut anything that's overly sweet a little bit. Now, Starbucks tends to be a little heavy-handed on sweet syrups, so these will likely be overkill, but we'll see if there's a way we can improve them. So there are currently 3 flavors available. There's the dragon fruit, pineapple, and strawberry. And to provide the heat element, they're using cayenne, ancho, chili, and paprika. So give these a taste, see how hot they are, see if they really balance out well with the sweetness or if it's just overbearing. I have my suspicions. So the chili flavor's coming through a lot more than I expected. Heat still very, very mild, probably a 1 to 2 on heat. But the blend of flavors is pretty nice. The dragon fruit is usually a little tamer in terms of being an overbearing flavor. And maybe it's not quite as sweet as the others. We'll see. It's not overwhelming. It is maybe a little sweet for my taste, but it's not unbearable, burning your mouth from just the sugar content. And that heat, that 1 to 2, doesn't really linger. It's pretty much gone as soon as you put it down the hatch. So overall, not bad. I wouldn't be surprised if of the 3, that's my favorite. But we're going to move on to the pineapple. The chili does settle onto the bottom pretty heavily. That is much, much sweeter. And the pineapple definitely takes over the overall flavor of the drink much more strongly than the dragon fruit did. Same read on the heat levels. And honestly, the flavor profile mixed with especially the pineapple, which is a little more tart, is reminiscent of tahini in terms of the flavor and really heat level as well, I guess, of the chili element in that drink. Yeah, I would not be able to finish this from the level of sweetness. I might get through this one. That's even a little questionable, but this already kind of getting that syrupy burn in my throat just from how sweet it is. So for me, that one's definitely below the dragon fruit. We'll see how strawberry shakes out. Now our final entry on the list. Whoa. There's something else going on there that's pretty overpowering. I suspect this is strawberry watermelon after tasting that, which I didn't recall seeing on the label, but it's definitely a much lighter than just strawberry and a very different flavor. So I'd say I definitely like that better than the pineapple. Same read on the heat. These also aren't very textured. I was a little worried that it was going to be chunks of chili flakes just like floating around in the drink, similar to a spicy margarita or something of that nature, which I'm not a fan of. But it is pretty finely ground chili powder that they're using. So once you stir it up, there's still some sediment in the bottom there. But even as I mix that up, it's not in chunks. It just becomes pretty homogeneous throughout the drink. So overall, the texture of all 3 of them is fine. The sweetness on the pineapple, I would say, is a bit overboard. Still a little heavy on the strawberry and even the dragon fruit, but I think this was the most tolerable. So I had to order these particular 3. I would say pineapple in last, strawberry in the middle, and the dragon fruit leading the charge on that. Do I think this is the actualized best version of a spicy, refreshing drink during the summer? No. I mean, that's going to be true of anything, though. You can make your own version of it and tailor it to your tastes. They're going for the mass appeal with a lot of sugar and those elements. So that's not surprising. But some things you can consider if you want to make your own. Well, this is very reminiscent of some sort of mocktail, right? So some sort of spicy mocktail or cocktail for that matter. First thing that comes to mind for me is simple syrup. So simple syrups are relatively easy to make, just a 2-to-1 sugar to water ratio to make it relatively shelf stable with the amount of sugar content. And then you just infuse it with your flavorings of choice. So my initial thought would be something with much more kick, because while the heat element is present, it's very fleeting, and likely due to the citric acid in the drinks, isn't going to bind, coat your mouth really, and coming from a powder being mixed with citric acid is not going to provide like the oil coat in your mouth that is what makes usually hot sauces and just eating the peppers very, very spicy for a very, very long time. So I do view that as a bit of a plus, but because of that reason, you can dial up the heat factor much more than this if you enjoy spicy things. So my thought is you just jump straight to some sort of dried ghost pepper or something like that and throttle it as needed. And then get creative with the flavors. I think a ghost pepper mint simple syrup would probably be one of the best ways to go, because mint with any sort of fruity, refreshing beverage really adds that extra brightness to it. And something as strong as ghost pepper is going to give it enough of a kick that it's very, very noticeable as well. But get creative. I would say try whatever flavor of choice you like. Mix it with lemonade's a good starting point, and then branch out from there for different fruit juices that you would want to combine it with. Now, the other benefit of making it into a simple syrup to use in these sort of mixes is you won't have the same sediment issue if these sit for even a short period of time. So they won't require constant mixing. If it's already been diluted into the simple syrup and then mixed through the drink, that should suspend the particulate chili powder much, much better. But let me know if you've had any of these, what your thoughts were, or if you've come up with any of your own spicy concoctions that you like to sip during the summer months. If you enjoyed this content, please consider subscribing. Appreciate you stopping by, and I'll see you next time.